Before we crack open tonight's cursed can of content, I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers, and an extra Sinister shout out to the loyal members of the Sinister Elite. You legends help keep the darkness alive. If you're enjoying the stories and want to take it a step further, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and consider joining the Sinister Elite by clicking that join button below. Members get access to creepy custom emojis and exclusive Sinister Elite badges that level up the longer you survive with us. It's like loyalty, but spookier. All right, lights off, headphones in, and let's summon something we'll all regret. You learn to laugh a lot when you're an EMT. Not because it's funny, hell no, but because if you don't, the weight crushes you. I've seen things you don't scrub off with a shower. You scrub it off with dark humor, bad gas station burritos, and a mop. Speaking of which, meet Moptimus Prime. He's our third partner. Not on the payroll, but he rides shotgun in the back with me. Technically, he's just a mop, but when you're hosing blood off the ambulance floor at 3 a.m., he feels like a guardian angel with a sponge head. Once in a while, he even has to step in when things go sideways. Don't ask me how. It's one of those you-had-to-be-there deals. My name's Donnie. Been on the job 5 years. Before you ask, no, it's not like 911 on TV. We don't have dramatic saxophone solos or rugged doctors waiting at the ER to nod at us like we're gods. Most of the time it's junkies, crashes, and people who swear they're dying but really just need a sandwich. But then there are the other calls. The ones nobody talks about. We call them transitions. You won't find them in any EMT textbook. You won't hear about them in training. But every seasoned medic knows. You get a patient whose pulse is circling the drain, eyes rolling back, skin going gray, and then something else pushes through. Like death opens a door, but the person doesn't exactly walk through it alone. And that's where the one rule comes in. Never look them in the eyes once they flatline. That's the rule. Simple. Stupid, maybe. But the first time I ignored it, I understood. It was a Thursday night. Me and my partner Lacey had just finished running a guy who swore he had food poisoning. Turned out he ate 3 pounds of gas station sushi. Nice and easy. We got back in the rig, ready for paperwork and maybe a nap, when the radio crackled. Unit 14, respond to cardiac arrest. Corner of 9th and Harrison. We hit the lights. Sirens wailing. Streets flashing red and blue. The man was already on the sidewalk when we pulled up. Mid-50s, shirt soaked with sweat, lips purple. Family screaming around him. "Clear out!" Lacey shouted, and we dropped in. CPR, oxygen, chest compressions, the whole kit. We got him loaded fast. I climbed into the back with Moptimus standing in the corner like a silent witness. We were pounding on his chest while Lacey drove like a bat out of hell. And then it happened. The monitor beeped a flatline. One long, merciless note. I'd been through this before. You get numb. You push meds. You do compressions, you try anyway. But something in the air changed, like static crawling up my neck. The man's chest rose. Not from me, not from Lacey's driving jostle. It rose on its own. And then his eyes snapped open. I should have looked away. That's the rule. That's the damn rule I'd heard whispered my first month on the job. But my instincts betrayed me. His pupils were pools of black, spreading until no white showed. His lips peeled back in a grin too wide for his face. The voice that came out wasn't his. You see me now. I froze. My stomach dropped like we'd hit a pothole. My hands were still on his chest, and for a second I swear I felt something underneath his ribs pushing back against me, like another set of hands. Then his neck snapped sideways with a crack. His body strained against the straps like they weren't even there. Moptimus tipped over in the corner, almost like he was bracing for what was coming. I tore my eyes away, but it was too late. Once you look, they know you. And knowing you, that's just the start. The thing about the back of an ambulance is there's no room to run. It's a shoebox with straps, cabinets, and one tiny swinging door to the driver's seat. When a guy who's supposed to be dead starts thrashing like a linebacker on bath salts, that little space feels like a coffin. The patient bucked against the gurney straps, snapping them one by one. Every crack of the nylon made my stomach clench tighter. His black eyes locked on me even when his head twisted at an angle that should have left him staring at the wall. "You see me?" he hissed, lips moving like a bad ventriloquist dummy. "Now I see you." "Yeah, well, maybe close your damn eyes then," I muttered, because my defense mechanism is mouthing off to nightmare fuel. The rig swerved hard. Lacey was pushing 90 through traffic. A cabinet popped open, spilling bandages and syringes across the floor. The patient? No, the thing, lunged forward. I shoved him back with my forearm, but he was stronger than he had any right to be. His chest was still caved in from compressions, ribs cracked, but he moved like a kid on Red Bull. "Moptimus!" I barked, like maybe my trusty mop could bail me out. "Yeah, laugh all you want. But you start working this job long enough, you start talking to your tools. And sometimes, they listen. Not this time, though." Moptimus stayed propped against the corner like he was watching the show, waiting for the right beat to drop. The monster's breath was rancid, copper and mildew like the inside of a tomb. His grin stretched wider, black saliva dripping down his chin. "Donnie," it croaked. My name. Not possible. "Donnie, come with me." My blood froze. EMTs are used to patients saying weird stuff while they're circling the drain. Hallucinations, prayers, confessions. But hearing my name in a voice that rattled like gravel in a can? No thanks. I snatched a syringe from the floor. Didn't even check the label. Could have been epinephrine, could have been saline. I jammed it into his neck and pushed. The thing twitched. For a second, I thought I'd won. Then it started laughing. A wet, bubbling chuckle that built until it shook the walls of the ambulance. Lacey's voice crackled through the intercom. "Donnie? Talk to me, man. What's going on back there?" Patient's a little restless," I shouted, straining against the monster's grip. "Might want to step on it." "Restless? You sound like you're wrestling a damn bear." "I've wrestled bears that were more polite." The creature's face changed. His skin sloughed like wax, drooping into new shapes. For a second, he looked like my own father, pale and grinning. Then a girl I dated in high school. Then my own face, eyes black and smiling like a funhouse mirror. "You belong to me now," my reflection said. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but there's no running in an ambulance. So I did what we do best in a crisis: improvise. I grabbed the defibrillator paddles, cranked the charge, and pressed them right against his chest. "Clear!" I yelled, even though I was the only one in the room. The shock ripped through him. His body arched so high I thought he'd snap in half. The lights in the rig flickered, then steadied. For a heartbeat, he went limp. Then his eyes popped open again, blacker than before. "Cute," he growled. That's when Moptimus shifted. Not much, just enough for me to see his handle slide an inch across the floor like he was tapping his foot, waiting for his cue. And I realized this was only round one. The defib shock still hummed in my bones. The patient-turned monster was twitching against the straps like a marionette, whose strings were being yanked by something pissed off. His eyes locked on mine again, all black, no soul, like staring down a busted TV screen that only shows static. I remembered the rule. Never look them in the eyes once they flatline. Too late for me. That ship had sailed, burned, and sunk. The thing snapped another strap and lurched forward, teeth clicking like a dog's jaws an inch from my throat. I jammed my shoulder into him, bracing against the gurney, but it was like wrestling a car crash. Every muscle in my body screamed. That's when I felt it. A cold draft. Moptimus Prime, my mop, slid across the floor on his own, handle scraping loud against the metal. He wasn't tipping over this time. He was moving with purpose. "Oh, buddy," I panted, ducking a swipe of the creature's arm. "Don't tell me you're clocking in." The mop slammed against the monster's chest with the force of a battering ram. I swear I didn't swing him. He just moved. The impact blasted the thing back against the gurney so hard the frame cracked. For a split second, his face flickered through shapes again, a dozen stolen identities stuttering across his skin, until it was just raw, sagging flesh. Moptimus reared back like a knight raising his sword. Then he struck again, right across the creature's throat. No blood, just a spray of black smoke that hissed as it hit the ambulance walls. The monster shrieked, not like a man, more like every siren in the city going off at once. I stared, jaw unhinged, as my mop went full WWE smackdown on this abomination, whacking and stabbing until the thing sagged lifelessly against the restraints. The smell of mildew and copper lifted, replaced by ozone, sharp and clean like after a thunderstorm. Then, just as calmly, Moptimus clattered back into his corner, propped against the wall as if he hadn't just saved my ass. I blinked at him. "You're not gonna explain that, are you?" Nothing. Just silence and the faint sway of the handle with the bumps in the road. The creature on the gurney gave one last twitch, then sagged completely. The monitor showed nothing but flatline. "Donnie?" Lacey's voice crackled through the intercom again. "We're 3 minutes out. How's our guy?" I looked at the gurney, then at Moptimus, then back at the gurney. "Stable," I lied. We screeched into the ER bay, and I yanked the doors open, dragging the body out with Lacey's help. The nurses rushed in, faces grim. They didn't see the monster, just a dead man. I wondered if I was losing it. As soon as they wheeled him away, Lacey eyed me. "You look like you saw a ghost." "Something like that," I muttered. She frowned. "Donnie, you didn't look him in the eyes, did you?" My stomach dropped. So she knew. Everyone on the job knows. They just don't talk about it. I swallowed hard and nodded. Her face paled. "Then it's not over for you." The automatic ER doors slid shut between us, and for a second I saw it. The dead man on the gurney turning his head mid-roll, black eyes still locked on me, and that grin. I didn't sleep that night, not even close. I sat on my couch with the TV on, muted, the glow painting my living room in pale blue. Every time I blinked, I saw those eyes, black as oil, burning through my skull. I'd been on rough calls before, drunks who puked on me, gunshot victims whose blood soaked my boots. I'd even seen a guy's femur snap clean through his thigh like a snapped pool cue. That stuff sticks with you, sure, but you learn to tuck it away. This was different. This felt personal. At 3:07 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something in my gut told me I had to. "Donnie," a voice rasped through the speaker. Not my name, not like that. It was him. I hung up, threw the phone across the room. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it echo in my ears. A second later, the phone buzzed again. The screen lit up on the floor. "Answer me." I didn't. Instead, I grabbed a beer from the fridge, cracked it open with shaking hands, and muttered, "Nope, nope, nope." But the thing about ignoring monsters? They don't like being ignored. The kitchen light flickered. The hum of the fridge died. My apartment plunged into silence so heavy it felt like a weight pressing against my chest. And then I heard it. A wet chuckle crawling out of the shadows. I spun, beer can shaking in my grip. "Not here. Not in my damn house," I whispered, like I had authority. The darkness in the corner of the room pulsed. It wasn't empty anymore. Something leaned forward from the shadows, too tall, joints bending wrong, skin sagging like melted wax. Its head tilted, and those same black eyes bored into me. "You see me," it whispered. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over my own couch. My hand brushed against something leaning by the door. Moptimus. I'd left him propped up after shift, too tired to put him away. I grabbed him, knuckles white around the handle. "Back off," I said, voice shaking. "I don't care if you're Freddy, Jason, or my dead Uncle Carl. You're not welcome here." The thing only grinned wider. Then my phone buzzed again, louder this time. The screen glowed from the floor. "Let me in." The shadow figure stepped closer, each footfall sticky, like tar peeling off the floor. I swung Moptimus in a wide arc. The bristles cut through the air with a hiss. The thing reeled back, smoke hissing where the mop's head connected. "Yeah, that's right," I barked, adrenaline drowning out the terror. "Meet my partner, asshole." The figure didn't vanish, but it wavered, blurred at the edges. It hissed and melted back into the corner shadows until the light steadied, leaving me alone in the room. Just me, Moptimus, and the stale stink of rot. I dropped onto the couch, clutching the mop like a rifle. My phone lay on the floor, screen dark now, like nothing had happened. Except I knew better. Once you break the rule, they don't just show up in the ambulance. They follow you, and there's no discharge paper for that. By the time my next shift rolled around, I looked like I'd gone 12 rounds with a garbage truck. Red eyes, coffee breath, hands shaking like I was detoxing. Lacey took one look at me and raised an eyebrow. "You look like death warmed over, Donnie." "Death didn't bother warming me," I muttered, climbing into the rig. Moptimus stood in his corner like always, handle tilted just slightly, like he was eavesdropping. Our first call of the night was routine. Old guy slipped in his kitchen, broke a hip. He cracked jokes the whole ride. Normal. Human. I started thinking maybe I'd imagined everything. Sleep deprivation, stress, too much caffeine. Then came call number 2. Dispatch. Unit 14, respond to unresponsive at Maplewood Apartments. We pulled up, lights cutting through the rain. A teenage girl sat on the curb sobbing. "It's my mom. She just collapsed." We hauled our gear inside. The woman was sprawled on the carpet, lips blue, chest still. We went through the motions. Compressions, oxygen, meds. Nothing. Flatline. I felt the static crawl again. That familiar buzz under my skin, like the world holding its breath. Lacey's hands stilled on the chest compressions. Her face drained of color. "Donnie," she whispered, not looking up. "Don't look at her." My stomach dropped. "You see it too?" She nodded, eyes locked firmly on the woman's chest. "Keep your eyes down. Don't give her an opening." But the daughter was screaming, tugging on my sleeve. "Is she gonna be okay? Tell me she's okay." And like an idiot, I looked up. The woman's eyes snapped open, black, bottomless. My breath caught. She didn't move, didn't thrash like the man before. She just stared. And when she opened her mouth, the voice that came out wasn't hers. "Donnie," Lacey cursed under her breath. "She knows you." The daughter didn't hear it. She just kept sobbing. But me? Every syllable burrowed under my skin. The woman's body twitched. Not much, just enough to tell me she wasn't done. I grabbed the gurney straps, cinching them tighter than usual. "Load her." Fast. We wheeled her into the rig. Rain hammered the roof as we pulled out. I sat across from the gurney, refusing to meet her eyes again, but she didn't stop. All the way to the hospital, she whispered my name, over and over, like a lullaby from hell. By the time we rolled into the bay, my nerves were shot. Nurses swarmed, oblivious to the whispers. They took her inside, the sound fading until it was just me and Lacey in the empty rig. She sat back, rubbing her temples. "You broke the rule again, didn't you?" "I didn't mean to." "That doesn't matter. Once is enough. Twice? You're screwed, Donnie. They're not supposed to remember us. They're not supposed to know us. But you..." She pointed at me, eyes sharp. "You let them in." I wanted to argue, but my phone buzzed again. I didn't even have to look at the screen to know what it said. "Answer me." And this time, I wasn't sure ignoring it would save me. By the time sunrise painted the city in orange, I was running on fumes and bad coffee. Every shadow looked like it wanted to eat me. Every beep of the monitor made my skin crawl. Lacey drove us back to base while I sat in the back with Moptimus, who leaned in his corner like he knew the night wasn't done. My phone buzzed again. I didn't even bother pulling it out of my pocket. I knew what it would say. "Answer me." always in caps like some pissed-off demon couldn't figure out lowercase. But this time, the buzzing didn't stop. It grew louder, rattling in my pocket until it felt like the vibration was inside my bones. Then the monitor beeped. Flatline. Only problem? The rig was empty. No patient. Lace? I called. My voice cracked. The intercom fizzed with static, then a voice slithered through. Not hers. Donnie. The lights flickered. Every cabinet popped open at once, supplies spilling onto the floor. And then the gurney straps curled up like snakes, coiling in midair. Something was here. I clutched Moptimus, knuckles white. All right, buddy. Showtime. The air thickened, heat rising off the floor. Shadows spilled from the corners, writhing, forming into shapes. Faces flickered in the dark. The man from the sidewalk, the mother from Maplewood, a dozen others, all staring with those black eyes, all grinning. You broke the rule, they hissed in unison. Now you ride with us. The gurney slammed upright, pinning itself to the wall. The straps whipped toward me like vipers. I swung Moptimus hard, bristles glowing faintly like they'd soaked up every prayer, every bit of bleach, every drop of holy water ever used on him. The mop sliced through the straps, smoke hissing where they split. The shadows shrieked, swirling faster, trying to swallow the rig whole. I planted my boots and held Moptimus like a lance. Not today, I charged. The mop's head slammed into the black mass at the center, and for one insane second, I swear I saw a tunnel behind it. Not of light, but of endless gnashing teeth. The rig shuddered. Windows blew out. My ears rang. The darkness scattered like ash in the wind, sucked screaming into that tunnel before the hole slammed shut. Silence. Just me, panting, with Moptimus planted in the floor like Excalibur in stone. The cabinets were trashed, the gurney bent, but the air felt lighter, cleaner. The intercom crackled. This time it was Lacey's voice, calm as ever. Donnie? You good back there? I stared at the mop, then at my shaking hands. A laugh bubbled out of me, half relief, half insanity. Yeah, I croaked, patient stable. Later, sitting in the parking lot, Lacey lit a cigarette and eyed me. So, you're still breathing. That's something barely. She blew smoke into the morning air. You broke the rule. More than once. Most don't come back from that, I didn't answer. My phone was quiet now. No buzzing, no messages. Just dead plastic in my pocket. Lacey flicked her ash, then smirked. Guess you owe that mop of yours a drink. I looked back at the rig. Moptimus leaned in his corner, still, silent. But I could have sworn he winked. And me? I laughed. Because what else can you do when the dead want your number and your only backup is a janitor's best friend? One thing's for sure, I'll never ignore the rule again. Never look them in the eyes once they flatline, because once you do, they'll never stop looking back.